especially since, seeing that everybody in this team is on steroids, which means including him. So
responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing insiders are calling out Canelo Alvarez for alleged steroid use ahead of his fight with Terence Crawford, pointing to his sudden muscle gains and past failed drug tests. David Benavidez also joined the conversation, questioning why Canelo keeps dodging a fight with him if he's really that confident. He pointed out that 5 people from Canelo's team have tested positive for steroids in the past, suggesting the whole camp, including Canelo, is involved, adding more fuel to the controversy surrounding the upcoming matchup.
Mexican boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since, seeing that everybody in this team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. How does 5?
You saw De La Hoya
How do 5 people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said like he came to watch me the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, what do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about? He's, are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight? In his head, Eddie Reynoso's like, fuck no, we not fighting him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah, but okay, 100 million, dude. You think you kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking warrior, bro, the only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. I've been smart. I'm negotiating my shit. But it's always a prize, bro. It's always, if I go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of.
Yeah, and I think that separates you too, David. And I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point.
Yeah.
How much you give me?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to Morel as well.
Yeah, shout out to
Eddie Reynoso's gym is facing serious criticism amid claims that he provides performance-enhancing substances to fighters in his camp. This includes Canelo Alvarez, who trains under Reynoso and has already faced steroid allegations twice before. Critics note that multiple fighters from the same gym have tested positive, casting doubt on the overall training environment. With Canelo getting ready to face Terence Crawford, many are now questioning how he's been able to gain muscle so quickly.
Serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero had said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. If by 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm gonna get up to 260 of muscle.
Many observers point out that building a large amount of muscle naturally in your 30s is extremely difficult. Yet, Canelo's current physique looks noticeably larger than in the past. This has added to the growing speculation, especially with the past controversies linked to Reynoso's camp. Both fans and analysts are now questioning whether Canelo's transformation is truly natural, or if performance enhancers are once again playing a hidden role in shaping the outcome of a major fight.
For a 30-year-old, right, you remember, your body grows, men's body can grow in height and length up until you're to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's comments about Canelo Alvarez have stirred major discussion in the boxing world. Known for his deep knowledge of physical performance and combat sports, Rogan questioned how Canelo has managed to bulk up so quickly in his 30s. He pointed out that natural muscle growth slows down with age, making such a transformation highly unusual. For Rogan, this isn't just speculation, it's based on science. He believes achieving that kind of size naturally at this stage is nearly impossible. And when someone with Rogan's credibility speaks up, it gets attention.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like Triple G.
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, well, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, you know, we should probably leave them the fuck alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
As the Canelo versus Terence Crawford fight approaches, talk of possible steroid use is picking up among fans and analysts. Many say they wouldn't be surprised if Canelo was using performance-enhancing drugs. Their reasoning is straightforward. He has access to top-tier facilities, expert nutritionists, skilled doctors, and advanced recovery tools. With that level of support and the drive to stay at the top, critics argue the temptation to cut corners is strong. They believe the environment around Canelo could make it easier to use banned substances without getting caught right away.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.
Floyd Mayweather has never been shy about calling out Canelo Alvarez, especially on the topic of steroids. He's openly said that too many people are scared to talk about it. In Floyd's eyes, boxing has a double standard. Some fighters get heavily criticized, while others, like Canelo, are protected because of their star power. He believes promoters, media, and fans avoid asking tough questions about Canelo because of his popularity and the money he brings in. But Floyd isn't staying silent. He stresses that using steroids isn't just unfair, it's dangerous and damages the integrity of the entire sport.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. They don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
As the Canelo versus Crawford fight draws near, the accusations haven't just come from experts. Fans from both sides are locked in heated debates, trading PD allegations. Crawford supporters question Canelo's size and power, while Canelo's camp raises doubts about Crawford's stamina and body transformation at a higher weight. The pressure has grown so intense that both fighters agreed to full PD testing before the fight. These tests aren't just for the officials, they're meant to assure the public. The fact that both camps felt the need to prove their clean status highlights how much trust has eroded in boxing. Fans are passionate, but they also want honesty, and the ongoing PD talk pushed both sides to take action.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random VADA testing in order to silence each other's fanbase and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately. Namely, Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close close relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been consistent.
Canelo Alvarez hasn't always had the powerful build he's known for today. In the early stages of his career, he was smaller, faster, and fought more like a natural welterweight. But over time, his body has changed significantly. Now he's not just facing bigger opponents, he's overpowering them. That dramatic transformation has sparked questions about how he gained so much size so effectively. With age and the physical toll of boxing in mind, critics are wondering if such growth is truly natural. While some credit hard training and discipline, others remain skeptical.
You gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, the feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, rising boxing talent and grandson of Muhammad Ali, shared his thoughts on how Crawford is preparing for the challenge of facing someone as big and strong as Canelo. He made it clear that Crawford isn't going in blindly. He's approaching the size gap with smart planning. Walsh pointed out that Crawford has been sparring with much larger opponents to get used to the kind of power and pressure Canelo brings. He sees this not just as courageous, but as a smart, tactical move. To Walsh, what sets great fighters apart is their ability to turn risk into opportunity. By tailoring his training to match Canelo's strengths, Crawford is making sure he's fully prepared. Walsh's comments highlight just how focused and calculated Crawford's camp really is. They understand the challenge and are leaving nothing to chance.
People with Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the build-up for that fight is just going to be absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight, it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Have you sparred any of them?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see it.
Respected boxing journalist Dan Rafael gave a clear reason why Crawford is taking this fight, and it's not about money. He says Crawford is chasing history, not a paycheck. Crawford wants to be remembered as more than just a champion. He wants to be seen as a legend who took real risks. This fight isn't about playing it safe, it's about building a lasting legacy. Still, Rafael acknowledges the huge challenge ahead. Beating Canelo will take more than just skill, it'll take near-perfect execution. Crawford can't afford mistakes. From strategy to toughness, everything has to be at its absolute best.
I think Terence Crawford is a marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he could outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge can you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and a lot of those of us in the media, and I had seen him a couple of times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention, and he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A., all of us looking around at Media Row going, what the heck is this all hyped about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over, that the round was over in round one, or there might have been some much more trouble. Stephen A., that was 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobbled, rocked, physically, visibly hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring with tremendous punchers. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes, do any damage. Yeah, he's a slick boxer, and he's also a good puncher in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent in Israel Madrimov. He gave him a good fight. It was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to edge it out. But if you can't hurt an Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is certainly a problem. You mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get his check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up to get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think...
What makes Terence Crawford truly stand out is his ability to control a fight without relying on raw power. Instead of trying to overpower his opponents, he breaks them down with sharp timing, smart tactics, and precise skill. Whether he fights in an orthodox stance or switches to southpaw, Crawford sets the pace and makes his opponents fight on his terms. This kind of adaptability is tough for power punchers like Canelo to handle. While Canelo may have the advantage in size and strength, Crawford's control of distance and movement helps even things out. His likely game plan will be to avoid dangerous exchanges and take advantage of Canelo's slower footwork. Crawford's finesse isn't just a style, it's his weapon. Against a knockout artist, staying safe while landing clean shots is key. His ability to adjust on the fly keeps opponents guessing, and that unpredictability is something Canelo has a hard time dealing with.
It's somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy. But Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I'd never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realize until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is. And it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp. So it's really hard to tell what his body composition is when he's walking around at these big weights. But the fact is, his fight night weight was 169 let's just call it 170 pounds, which is huge, absolutely huge for a 154 pounder. Especially, it's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight. He's rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around at 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is, that's a lot.
Marcus Brown, who's trained alongside Crawford in the gym, firmly rejects the idea that Crawford is intimidated by Canelo's size or power. He says Crawford has been sparring with much bigger fighters, some even the size of heavyweights, for a long time, and he's handled the challenge with ease. According to Brown, This experience gives Crawford a level of confidence that many fans might not see. He's used to taking bigger shots and still sticking to his strategy. Brown adds that Crawford never loses his cool in those moments. He stays calm, focused, and smart. That mental strength, paired with solid preparation, could be what helps him handle Canelo's power on fight night.
Crawford. You know, typically fighters, you know, they don't want to say who they want to go for because, you know, they don't want to be biased.
Yeah.
And much respect to Canelo, but I'm going Bud.
Is there a particular reason why? Like, you're a guy that's moved up in weight, so you know exactly what it feels like to get hit by these bigger guys. Is that something that's gonna play in the back of his head? Like,
of course,
gotta watch out.
It is, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he just been in there, got in there with somebody bigger than him. He's always probably been sparring with bigger guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's that boxing IQ, which, you know, William Skull didn't put up no fight, but he showed somewhat of a blueprint to get this guy, you know, in a space where he's confused.
Yeah.
And he can't touch his target that's in front of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.